I've been looking all over the internet for this, and I could not find a single thing. I found one thing on Reddit that kind of helped, but didn't really. So I'm going to show you how I did it, because this actually works and it's not too complicated. What I'm going to show you is how you can layer drum shots or samples over your GetGood drums. If you have the paid version of Kontakt, you can just ignore this, because the paid version of Kontakt makes it really easy. So you just drag your sample below your GetGood drums D0. So I just made sure the mapping here is D0. So when D0 is hit, you get both that sample and then the GetGood drum. So if you mute that, let's just solo this. So that's the sample right there. So you get both. So if you have the paid version of that, then you're good, because then you can just send the output to a different channel. So you would add another channel here. So you would you do a mono channel and name it, snare shot or kick shot or whatever. And then that will get sent out to here. Once you have it there, you can rename it. It'll be here. You get that sent out, and then it gets sent out to your mixer. Easy peasy. But since I don't have it, I have the demo mode. This will eventually go silent and it won't work anymore. So instead, I had to find a workaround. In FL, this is what I did. Instead of loading up a Kontakt instance, I have a patcher instance. And then I have GetGood drums here. And you can't load samples into Patcher, a sampler. So when you try to do the plugin and you try to do a sampler here, it doesn't work. So you need to add the FPC plugin. And then this is where you would add your drum shot. So I have my kick, my snare, my rack tom, my tom 2, and my tom 3. Just like that. And then you can add, hi-hat samples on top, but I'd rather just do my trap hats and stuff like that separately. So once that's set up, I have all the outputs. So this is going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then those are getting sent out into here. So I made tracks on the mixer. I have those routing to where they need to go. So the kick shot is getting routed to the kick shot on the mixer track. And then for the GetGood drums, I have the same thing, is outputs. I have all my output sends, the same outputs you saw before, but you can't label these. This is why it's kind of confusing. So this is the effects and reverb. This is kick, snare, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overheads, and room. But you can't rename those, not that I'm aware of yet. So you send all those out to the mixer tracks you make here. So this is the mixer track right here. So this is the reverb and master. This is kick, snare, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overheads, room, kick shot, snare shot, T1, T2, T3 shot. Those are all going out now. And you could blend them like this. Sorry, like this little volume thing, but I didn't want to do it like that. So instead, I have it to where I'm controlling the volume knob here for all of these separately. And I also have a control for the mute as well. So I can mute these pads just through the surface, this little control center thing I made. So now I can control my kick shots, my snare shots, and my T1 and my T2 and my T3 all right here, and I can also bypass them as well. So I think I have a little sample going, or a little pattern. So if I want more of that kick, you can bring that in, or you want more of that snare, so a little bit more powerful snare, you can bring that up. And same for the toms, but let's say I don't want to use the toms or the kick. I just want a little bit more bite on my snare for a more organic sound. I can just boost my snare a little bit. Same thing with the kick. I can drag in a different kick sample and then just blend it in a little bit. But yeah, this is a little patcher thing I made. I'm gonna have in the description the patcher file itself. So you should be able to use it that way. If you have GetGood Drums and Kontakt 8, it should be fine. But I'm also gonna show you how I did it as well. So we're gonna start a new patcher on 40. So you open up a new patcher, set this to 40 or whatever mix track you want to go to. I'm just setting mine to 40 because it's out of the way. Then you want to load up your GetGood Drums or whatever Kontakt thing you need to load up. Okay. And then you're gonna do multi-out. I already have a preset that already has the output sets, but I just want to show you how to do it. And then on this new Kontakt Player, make sure you switch it to classic view, because then you'll be able to open up the outputs. And honestly, I just like this view anyway. If you're using the One Kit Wonder, it's pretty easy. You just go to mixer right here and then switch these over. If you're using Invasion, it's a little different. There's just a lot more options. I like Invasion a little bit more because you get a little bit more control over the room and the overheads, because then you can route the kick room and the snare room and the tom rooms basically all into one track. And then blend those. You have a little bit more control with blending basically, but these were made for, ready to go mixes. So this is why I like using this one as a quick choice. So you just switch these to the right. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. Tom 3, perfect. Overheads, and then the room. Awesome. After you get that all switched up, you want to go up to this cog here. I like to refresh the plugin properties, and then I like to do auto map. And then your Kontakt should be routed now. So once you get that set up, now you need to set the outputs correctly in the patcher setting. So now you go to outputs, and then these are all your outputs here. So this is going to be your effects. So reverb and master, kick, snare, tom 1, tom 2. So basically you need to make 3 more. So add 1. You can, and then this is the only way you can do it. You can't add multiple. It's so stupid. And then add that. And then you make 1 more. There you go. Those are all your outputs. And then, so let's label these correctly. So this would be your drum reverb, basically. Or I would like to get GetGood Drums reverb. And this is just how I'm routing it. You can route it however way you want. And then this would be your kick. And then this would be your snare. It'd be T1 for tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overheads, and room. So this is your drum setup here. So now you'd go here. So your main output should stay right here. Your main output can stay on this one. That's fine. What I like to do is just do activate all. It's kind of a messy. It's so much easier than going through and then adding each one, because you can't multiple add in this. It's really stupid. So let's just bring this over here so it's nice and easy. Output audio. There we go. Activate all. There you go. Your send 1 is your kick. So then you go here and then you just look for your kick. So it would be 41. Name this kick. There you go. Sorry about that. I just don't want, I already have this grouping here. Tom 2, and I don't want to route it wrong to that one. Okay, now that's set up correctly. Okay, so now you just take your send 1, which is your kick from GetGood Drums, and then you look for your insert that you just made. So right here, you can see in the top left in this area here, this will say what you're on. So the next one, so basically this whole row right here would be what I'm going to be connecting to. Send 2 is my snare. Send 3 is my tom 1. And then my send 4 is my tom 2. And then my output 1, my tom 3. Output 2 is my overheads. And then output 2 is my overheads, and output 3 is my room. And that's the routing from Kontakt to FL from Patcher. And then after you have all that connected, go right here, go to audio, and then deactivate unused. And there you go. I have no idea if you can switch these around, but if you can, awesome. I would do it because it's really messy. But once that's set up, you should be able to hear sounds coming out of Patcher now. So that's all routed now. You're getting good signal there. So now you want to blend in your samples. You just load a FPC plugin like so, and then you want to disconnect that. So, and then you could either load up preset, do whatever. I just did empty. You could start down here. I started up here because that's where I thought pad 1, pad 2 was, but it's actually down here. I would start down here, and then you can do your kick first. So let me just drag this snare in for funsies. And then you can do your kick first. Like that's a good beefy kick you can layer. And then that's a good snare you can layer. But yeah, you're not going to hear anything because there's no output right now. If you want to do your toms, you just do them here, and then you just go throughout there, put your samples where you want. And then you want to route your samples. Then you want to go up here and then also change the MIDI note. The MIDI note for my kick is C2, I believe. And then for my snare, it's D2. What I like to do, you could either route it to the same mixer track as your kick, and then you can blend it in through here, but that doesn't give you as much control as if you give it its own mixer track, because then you can process it afterwards, as well as messing with the fader. What I'd like to do is, after my room track, I would just make a kick shot or drum shot, kick, and then drum shot, snare, and then yeah, you do that for all the samples you're going to use. And then you can pull this up, same thing, and then you just activate those two. I'm not going to activate all just for 2, that's fine. Just activate those 2 right there, and then you have to activate your outputs. You're not going to be using the main 1 output, so you can just get rid of that. You're going to be using only the outputs of the kick and the snare. So I like to do send 1 and send 2, like so, and then this would get sent to the kick, and then this would get sent to the snare. And then make sure these are set up right. So that needs to get set to output 1, and then this needs to get sent to output 2. So now when the kick is triggered, you should get the kick of the Kontakt, and you should also get kicked with the FPC as well. So if we pull up that pattern, so now we're getting both that drum kick and snare, and then you can blend them in like that. And that's pretty much it. You don't have to make that surface thing I made. I kind of just made this so I can kind of blend it before it hits the mixer, because after processing, I'm still gonna have to, mess with the fader, or not. I can just do it all from here for the most part. But I like the ability to bypass things and mess with the levels here too. It's just an extra thing. You don't have to do that. Just doing this by itself is good enough for layering drum shots. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that because I couldn't find anything about that on any of the forums or YouTube. Yeah, it was a real little pain trying to figure out how to do this. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I would be happy to answer them. I know it was not super simple, but it's not super complicated either. It's not as complicated as if you were, had paid Kontakt or going through Cubase. Cubase, it's pretty easy to route things like that. Thanks you guys for watching.